Rosario? Here. Mrs. Washington here. Dr. Ballard?
Here.
Mr. Ferguson?
Here.
Mr. Sturgill?
Here.
For our Pledge of Allegiance today, we have some visitors.
We do. So we are excited to have students and some staff members from Admiral King Elementary tonight. So Mrs. Amy Rodriguez and Miss Crystal Hamilton, welcome. And their teachers are, we're going to have fifth graders tonight. Their teachers are Mrs. Washington and Mrs. Bowe. And their dance instructor, Miss Lexi, is also here. So we want to introduce the students to you first, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance and then the performance. Does that sound good? All right, awesome. So we are fortunate. We've got London Davis, who is the daughter of Mrs. Susan Widener. London's a football cheerleader for the Warriors. Hi, London. And Kalia Patton. Yeah, football. That's great. And Kalia Patton, she's the daughter of Miss Erica Williams, and Kalia likes to dance at home. So welcome. And Austin Payne is the son of Scott and Susan Payne. Austin loves spending time at home playing video games or watching TV, but not both. Is that correct? All right. No? All right. And Jeremiah Smith is the son of Jeremiah and Crystal Smith, and Jeremiah collects Pokemon cards. So welcome. And Peyton Bowles is the daughter of Robert and Monica Bowles. Peyton makes TikToks and sings. And Mackenzie Woodson is the daughter of Donald and Rosemarie Woodson, and Mackenzie likes to do hair and nails. So they will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then afterwards they're going to do a short dance for Hispanic Heritage Month, led by Miss Lexi, their dance teacher. So guys, go ahead and come on up by Miss Rodriguez. If we could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Nice job.
And this is a dance they learned kind of to culminate Hispanic Heritage Month. We had a little program at our school and featured some of it, so they were super excited to get the chance to do it again for you guys here tonight.
That was awesome, but before you run away, come back up for a picture if you would, please. Yeah, it's our time to celebrate with great kids, so please go back. That was awesome.
Say cheese.
Cheese.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Nice job. Thank you. Actually, it was awesome. And for those of you who don't know, we did a survey last year and reached out to our families to find out what they wanted to see in Lorain City schools. And bringing back the arts with a strong emphasis in the arts not only made perfect academic sense, but it's what our community said, what you expect. And number one on the list was dance. And Ross spent all summer finding dance teachers to make sure that all of our students in grades K through 12 have access to dance. And again, phenomenal job. Admiral King, one more time. Thank you. It's always great to watch hard work pay off. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Our first recognition of visitor, Tony Lott. He is going to give us an update on the boat stadium, the baseball and the football.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. Yes, I was asked to come here this evening to give you kind of an update on Campana Park project, which, as the mayor and I were just talking about, is probably one of the largest collaborative projects between the city and the schools, and could be history. But the progress is going great. I brought a few pictures here to show you. Currently, just today, this is the varsity baseball field. It was complete with the turf. They were doing some fine tuning of it this afternoon, but they completed that part of the project. Again, the softball field as well is complete, and I believe the softball field's been complete now for the last couple weeks. So they moved very quickly on that. There's some things that need to be done around the softball field with the seating and straw on the outer parts away from the field that they're going to currently get done, and then the soccer fields in the backside. So that's going to be the next stage of it. We're also working on sound over at the pipe yard as well, and the scoreboards. There's 2 new scoreboards going in over there, so both fields will have a brand new scoreboard, and we're working on running electric out there too. So those are some of the things that we have to finish over there. The paving is also done. I don't know if any of you have gotten a chance to drive by it, but the paving they finished last week. They did a pretty good job with that south of the pipe yard. So we appreciate the city workers doing that, because I believe they're the ones that did the paving. So they did a nice job. But that project is coming along great, and we're excited to hopefully get that finished with some of the other things that need to be done. But right now, both of those fields are done. Just got to wait for the grass to grow now. But, what's it? We do not currently. We're really fortunate that we have such brilliant weather, to be honest with you.
And the last I heard was the beginning of November, so we're
Yeah.
right there, right? I
Yeah,
things
we're
are
right
just
there.
Yeah.
We're going to play there in the spring.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And again, before we go into the stadium, I just want to say thanks. And again, actually, coincidentally, the mayor's here for something else. But whenever you enter into a partnership of this caliber, and as Tony mentioned, maybe the largest ever between the school district and the city, it's not without risk, because things happen and people have different interests throughout the entire process. I want to thank the mayor, and not just the mayor. He's the face and he's the one at our meeting, but also the many city workers who've been a part of this. And right now, things are going, it's spectacular. The project that we have is amazing, and look forward to continuing the relationship and what comes next. So Mayor, thank you. And if you could pass that on to your folks who made sure that we've got this thing done the right way, and they're getting their hands dirty every day, and it's just very, very much appreciated.
I also want to compliment the Lorain City Schools in making this project a reality. Because we have the schools working with us to put this all together, it would have never happened. And it's really nice that the city schools and the city government can cooperate and get a project like this complete. So we all worked really hard, and we were able to secure a grant from the National Park Service to pay for almost a third of the project, and then we were able other funds that we receive, so that this is really what collaboration is all about, working together. And so I'm very proud that Lorain City Schools are willing to join us. And I want to thank the board because I know I had to come to the board and explain the project. And at first, I don't think the board was entirely bought into the project. And after we talked, we had 100% approval from the board. So I want to thank the board also for seeing that this was a valuable project for not only our students here in Lorain, but also our citizens. Thank you.
The other project I want to give you a little update on, and I do it cautiously, because the George Daniel Field Stadium project that you guys are all fully aware of, we have not currently approved any kind of funding or hard costs associated with this because it's complex. But we are working on those numbers and trying to finalize what that looks like.
If you don't mind me jumping in again, you said it's complex. Knowing the process works always when there's construction, you say we want the best. And then you give it to your architects, and they come back and say, okay, here's what the best cost. But here's our budget. So there are areas that we tweak to adjust. We just got numbers today, the first round of numbers from our architects. So we're sitting down, going through those to find out what needs to be platinum, what needs to be gold, and what needs to be bronze, to make sure that the stadium that has not been touched, as I understand it, since it was put in, except for the artificial turf. And we have a lot of plans that Tony's going to walk through here in a second. But the costs are not unknown, but we're at the stage of the process where we take a look at what they recommend for the Cadillac version and then adjust it to what our budget allows. But again, to make sure that what we have, you'll see, it's going to be spectacular. So, sorry, Tony.
And we want to make sure it's going to be an amazing project, just like anything what we've done in Lorain City Schools. So, again, I cautiously show you these. These are tentative and just mock-ups of what potentially could be. But we did receive these, and Dr. Graham thought it would be important to kind of give the board an update on what we're potentially looking at, and these came from our architects, Sixto. So Sixmo, they will be continuing to work on this. We'll be meeting here in the Wednesday, actually, to discuss some things. But we're looking at a timeline where we're going out to bid. The first advertisement will go out October 30th for the bid process. The second will be November 6th, and then we're looking at a bid opening around November 21st, and hopefully have something to the board by the December 11th board meeting. And we're hoping to start construction somewhere around January 16th. So we do have a tentative timeline for this particular project. Again, just to give you some ideas. Yeah, Mr. Ferguson? These are the mock-ups of what would be our current, if you see the visitor side, right? That's, the field house. Yeah. Yeah, so this would potentially what the field house looks like inside and out. I love that light up top, by the way.
That's pretty cool.
Little,
I like that.
little
Yeah.
details for me are important, but yeah, so.
Doesn't add a lot of cost, but it adds a lot of class.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
for sure. And again, the hallway here, interior view with, you could see kind of a classroom setting on the left-hand side, for team room, films, study tables, whatever we need for those kids that'll be utilizing this facility. Some exterior graphics, you look, again, we can change this in any way we feel fit. But again, branding is so important for the district, and just an exciting project that is well overdue. I'm tired of my kid and other kids complaining about the bathrooms over there. It's just
It's embarrassing.
horrendous.
And it's not,
that was
just
me.
not, our people deserve better.
And we do have some ADA compliance issues that we need to resolve. So this is long overdue, and we're excited to get it underway. So hopefully the bid process will go the way we want it to go, and then we'll just continue to take a look at this and move it forward.
And again, we have 2 phases, right? So we should not interfere with any fall sports season. But we have some stuff going in before the fall and some stuff after. And for those of you who've been following this process from the beginning, we are a little behind time-wise. And the reason is, if anybody noticed at our stadium, at the bottom of some of the stairs, there are holes. As you walk out, and those holes gathered water. Wherever those holes came from, don't know. But water went into those holes throughout the course of the year and eroded under the bleachers. So right now, we have to make sure that's fixed before we can build upon the bleachers. So there's some things, as we were doing an investigation of what needed to be done, we found some things that needed to be fixed, completely addressed before we could start this process. So that delayed things for us, but again, we'll get things done and get them done the right way. And a question I'm always asked is, where's this money coming from? As the mayor pointed out, there were several funding sources that came into play with Campana Park. We had planned on doing a baseball field and softball field since we had the OSFC project. And from actually the beginning of my first tour, one of the charges was, Jeff, get this fixed. We need a baseball field and a softball field. Obviously, there was something got in the way, and I left for a little bit. But then when I came back, the question's posed again. Jeff, where are we playing baseball and softball? And again, the process took a little bit of time as we worked things out with the city. But the cost is we spent some money, the city spent some money, and all that came from ESSER funds. So this was federal grant dollars. And then we applied for, actually the city applied for a federal grant that also paid for some. So we paid for a third, roughly, the city paid for roughly a third, and the federal grant paid for a third. In terms of the stadium, where that money is coming from is what's called LFI funds, locally funded initiatives. And where that money comes from, when the district passed a levy for all new buildings long before I was here, it was approved, and the state said, here's your money. And that money sat in the bank. We slowly built buildings, which means there was money sitting in the bank that we weren't spending. That money earned interest, and those called LFI funds. So the money that gained interest, well, actually for us was a little different. Typically you spend all on building projects. But for us, because when we first did this project back in the early 2000s, we had to spend $1 million out of general fund for whatever reason. So the district by law had to replenish that $1 million back in the general fund, and the rest of that money is set aside for building projects. This is that building project. So again, we're spending money for the most part. I'm not exactly sure what the final price tag is, but at least a vast majority, if not all of this, will come out of funds that we have to spend on facilities. Anything else?
Very good. And the only other update I have for you is the transportation center. We are very close to getting our transportation department over to the 1800 Colorado Avenue facility. Just making some final touch-ups over there and making sure our security is in place, and we're hopeful that the fencing will be put up this week as well. So we're getting close to ending that project as well, but all exciting stuff. So
And
again,
just a great investment. So
yeah,
I appreciate
absolutely.
your leadership on that.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right. Sorry, it's you. Well, actually, since it's you, can I do? All right. So actually, the mayor's here for a different reason. The mayor is here to celebrate some amazing people who did some amazing things. And I mentioned earlier when I was here for a while and then I left for a while. As many of you know, we've been under a few different versions of state takeover. The most recent, actually the second most recent, was one where the state appointed the CEO and to lead the district. That person would have the full legal authority of the Board of Education and the full legal authority of the superintendent. And by law, the laws are set so we balance each other out. So I don't have full authority, they don't. We kind of keep each other in check. We had a group of community members who demonstrated tremendous leadership, and I won't steal the mayor's thunder, but as a result of their hard work, we are in a much healthier place. We're now in a place where healthy organizations operate. But again, Mayor, I won't steal your thunder, but I'm as excited to cheer for these folks as you are, so thank you.
One may ask that Barbie Washington come up, and Harvey come up, and Mary Miller come up. Important regard. So these are the four ladies who actually spearheaded the movement to get Lorain out of this mess that the state created. And because of them, they started a group called the Face the Village. And many people joined with them after they formed this group. So it really just wasn't these four, but they actually spearheaded the movement and caused the city schools to be out of this mess as of what, October 2nd?
4th.
October 4th. October 4th of this year. So next year we'll have our first full year of being out from state control, returning the control back to the citizens. Because you vote for the school board, and the school board gets us a superintendent, and so it's really making sure that the citizens have their voice heard and that the state isn't running our schools. So I'm going to present each one of them with a proclamation, and then I'm going to present them with something else. So I'll read the proclamation. It's the same proclamation for all four. But it says, whereas after Lorain City Schools fell under the destructive House Bill 70 legislation that stripped voters of their voice and took power away from a duly elected school board, 4 women decided to rally their community. And whereas 4 determined women, Barbie Washington, Summer Harvey, Mary Miller, and Courtney Nazario, all mothers of public school students enrolled at Lorain City Schools, joined forces to begin a grassroots movement and created It Takes a Village. Whereas the group grew in numbers, spoke at numerous school board meetings and town halls, I know I got some of those meetings, and they were very vocal, helped organize a bus trip to the State House, and gave testimonies at community meetings before the Senate Education Committee. And that takes a lot of guts to get in front of one of those Senate committees and testify. And before the state school board meetings, they held meetings and became a voice to the voiceless, including students, other parents, and valued educators. And whereas It Takes a Village provided support locally by sharing information with parents, families, educators, and the community. It Takes a Village helped with food distribution, created Coach Ken's Closet, and provided free clothing, toys, and hygiene products. The mothers sponsored families for holidays, sponsored meals, special events for athletes, and sponsored field trips for students. The mothers in It Takes a Village became a liaison between the district and families. So they didn't just try to get us out of this state control, but they also gave back to the community in other ways, which is really amazing. Whereas It Takes a Village received a prestigious award from the Ohio Education Association and have been acknowledged by an Ohio Teachers Association, a National Teachers Association, the Network for Public Education, and other prominent groups for their advocacy, a word I know, fight for local control, and their support of public education. Their work helped to put pressure on the legislature, and a moratorium was placed on House Bill 70, stopping a dozen other school districts from being taken over by the state. And whereas It Takes a Village played a pivotal role in the return of local control. And on July 4th, 2023, Governor Mike DeWine signed the budget bill, which is House Bill 33, releasing Lorain from state oversight. And on October 4th, 2023, Lorain will fully regain control back to the duly elected officials, and the voters will regain all rights. Now, therefore, I, Jack W. Bradley, Mayor of the City of Lorain, want to thank the 4 mothers that created It Takes a Village for their hard work in getting Lorain City Schools back into local control. The citizens of Lorain, thank you for giving your community your voice back. You women are truly Lorain proud in every possible way. And I've signed this on behalf of the citizens of Lorain, and I'm going to present a copy to each one of you. To present something even more special. Now, I've only given out 1 key to the city since I've been the mayor, which is nearly 4 years. But I think that these 4 ladies deserve a key to the city because they are a key to our city, and I think that we should continue to honor them, and they should put these keys in a special spot. So, this is the key to the city that each one of them is going to receive, and kind of cool because not too many people have it.
Barbie. Now, you know, we have a school board that also was very helpful. Now, two of the members, two of the ladies here are actually on the school board because the citizens of Lorain thought, man, if these ladies are so powerful, they should be on our school board. So they actually got elected to the school board, and they're doing a really wonderful job. And again, they were instrumental in helping the city work on Campana Park and getting that project done. But we also have some other school board members that I think deserve something also. So I made up these challenge coins. And on these challenge coins, on one side, it commemorates the tornado that we had 100 years ago next year. And the other side, it has the solar eclipse that's going to happen in Lorain. So I'm going to give each one of the school board members that didn't get a key to the city something that's even just as special because these are limited edition. And so I want them to have this challenge coin because I know that they're challenged every day in what they do. And I know them as being partners with It Takes a Village to get all this done for our city. So I'm going to give them a challenge coin so that they don't feel neglected. And I don't want to leave out Dr. Graham because I could tell that he felt like, you know, what am I, chopped liver or something? So we're going to give Dr. Graham a challenge coin also. Now, Tony Damaki has already got a challenge coin, I think, didn't you? Because of the fact that he happens to be a member. You did or didn't? Well, I'm going to give him a challenge coin too because I don't want him to feel bad. Now, that's all I've got. You know, if I give it to everybody, then it's not going to be so special. Dr. Graham, you a challenge coin. Thank you very much. Thank you all, and just be so proud that we have such a great community that comes together when it's necessary. And really, from my personal opinion, I think we have one of the best school boards that we've ever had in the city of Lorain. And I taught in the Lorain City Schools for 5 years. I know school boards. When I was teaching in the Lorain City Schools in the early 70s, we had to go on strike 2 times. That's the kind of school board we had back then. This is the kind of school board that really loves the children, loves the community, and are very, very engaged. So I don't want to give any political plugs, but boy, this is a great board that we have. So congratulations.
And Mayor and Tony, I know you guys have to leave for City Council tonight, but I would just like to very, very quickly add my congratulations and celebrations and applause to the 4 people standing in front of you. I met, well, Superintendent Canton went down and met with many legislators to fight this battle on behalf of Canton and Lorain. I've been back now for, well, 3 years now, a little over 3 years, and been fighting the same battle to try to get local control back in our district. I've met with many, many, many legislators. I've spoken to the governor, and they bring up this group of people. They bring up It Takes a Village. And whether they demonstrate respect because they applaud them or because of the frustration that they created for some of the pathways that were chosen, that candidly were not healthy. But again, talk to the governor. He brought up It Takes a Village. Are they going to be okay with this? So again, but it's one thing to be elected and the folks sitting at the table or appointed. But these 4 people recognized that we needed leadership, and they just stepped up and led. So again, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for all that you've done for the city of Lorain. I know the road was a bumpy one. You just stood up and recognized work needed to be done, and you got work done. So just on behalf of the folks, thanks. And do you guys want to get pictures taken, Mayor, with It Takes a Village?
You survived that one. Don't make it a habit. Yeah. Yep. See you guys. Thanks.
And ironically, after all the speaking they did during the rough times, no one wants to talk now. So let the board meeting continue. But thanks.
First hearing of the public. Done. We need to approve the minutes from the October 9th board meeting.
So moved.
We're going to waive the right to read the minutes from the meeting. Roll call?
Mrs. Rosario?
Yes.
Mrs. Washington, yes. Dr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Any old business? Reports and recommendations have been given.
I have items 8.01 and 8.04 for approval.
One second, real quick, I'm sorry. We have to read this. Item 8.02 is the approval of the resolution closing out the construction project trust. Whereas the Lorain City School District entered into a classroom facilities assistance program with the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission on July 26, 2001. And whereas all construction has been completed and all contractual obligations have been met, and whereas the final reconciliation of the Lorain City School District Project Construction Fund, Fund 10, with the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission has been completed. Therefore, it be resolved that the Board of Education of the Lorain City School District approve the certificate of project completion and authorize the president and treasurer to execute the certificate, and be it further resolved that the treasurer be authorized to close the project construction fund, Fund 10, and dispose of the remaining funds in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, Section 3318.1.
Can I speak to that very quickly? This is the LFI fund that I mentioned earlier. For whatever reason, I think we opened our high school, which was our last building, in 2016. The state just finally closed everything out to tell us how much money we have left over and can dedicate to our stadium. So that's a technical language that we had to read beforehand, but that was just closed out. So thanks.
Before we take the motion, I want to make sure that I worded it correctly. 8.01 through 8.04 for approval.
And so moved. Support.
Mrs. Rosario? Yes. Mrs. Washington, yes. Dr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
And Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Reports and recommendations.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like the board to consider for approval items 9.01 to 9.12, personnel matters.
Support. Any discussion? Roll call. Mrs. Rosario? Yes. Mrs. Washington, yes. Dr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
I'd like the board to consider for approval items 10.01 to 10.13, operation matters.
So moved. Support.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Rosario? Yes. Mrs. Washington, yes. Dr. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
And Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Any new business? Committee reports and requests from board members. We have items 13.01. This was the one, you received an email on it, I was about to.
was added to it. It was a walk-on. Okay, so moved. You not having it?
Second hearing of the public. Our next board meeting will be November 13th at 5 o'clock here at the board meeting room. I have a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call.
Mrs. Mazzarrio. Mrs. Washington, yes. Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
And Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
That was a fun meeting, thank you.